Good afternoon, Doc. Good afternoon, classmates. I am Leslie Rivas, and I'm going to present my topic, role theory. So, let us define what is role theory. The role theory is the expectations that are associated with various positions in society. So, what are these expectations? It includes behaviors, thoughts, interactions, and attitudes associated with specific roles. An individual can have multiple roles in life, which can vary depending settings. So let's try this example. A woman can have the role of being a mother, a wife, sister, friend, employee. A man could have the role of being a father, a husband, uncle, or athlete. So I just like to add that in life, we carry different roles. So that roles include being a doctor, a police officer, teacher, engineer. So may mga expectations based on the role nga ginaportray ta. And those expectations include our behavior, the thoughts, how we interact with people, and even the attitudes nga naka-associate sa aton nga role. So the role theory is used to explain why individuals perform certain behaviors in relation to a particular role. It has been found out that continuous engagement in a specific role can lead to characteristics of that role that when we perform the role or performing a role become part of an individual's self-identity. For example, an individual who has been teaching for over 20 years. Okay? Kunyari, educator siya. So, both in and out of the classroom. When an individual begins a new role or leaves an old role, their self-identity can be impacted. Of course, diba? So, like an educator, we are known as caretaker, a teacher, role model, supporter, mentor, life coach, communicator, role model, problem solver, leader, a guide. So, marami tayong role na pinoportray as an educator. But of course, what will happen if we end the role and then we begin a new role, 'di ba? Or matapos na natin ang role na 'yon. Example, when we retire or nag-resign tayo sa ating job, of course, our self-identity magkakaroon ng effect. Okay? So, the new role na ginagampanan natin will have an effect in our self-identity. Why? Bakit nagkakaroon ng impact or bakit magkakaroon ng effect? Because according to the role theory, it explains why we perform certain behavior based sa role na ginagampanan natin. Gusto ko lang i-add on na sa book sa grade 9, meron topic doon about roles. So, what are the roles? What are your roles as a student? What are the roles of teacher, of parents, so of a friend? So, may mga ganung tanong. And for me, it's very important talaga to know, to let the students know na meron silang silbi, 'di ba? So they have their roles to perform kahit sa classroom sila or kahit sa bahay sila, meron silang mga gawain. They have still roles to portray. Kasi it's very important na nagkakaroon sila ng self-identity and self-fulfillment. Kahit tayo, 'di ba? People cease to exist when there is no vision, when there is no role, and when there is no purpose. Pero kapag malaman natin na may role pala ako, may silbi pala ako, so magche-change ang mindset natin. So nagbibigay ito sa atin ng hope and ng endurance to pursue kung ano man yung mga things na dapat nating i-pursue or mga tasks na dapat nating gawin. Who are the originators of role theory? So I'm going to present two. First, Ralph Linton in sociology, and he was an anthropologist, and George Herbert Mead in social psychology, and he was a social philosopher. So Ralph Linton says that role theory was a means for analyzing social systems, and roles were conceived as aspect of social positions or statuses. In addition, Linton emphasizes that role theory is a means to analyze social systems. And napaka-importante ang role according sa kanya because it controls what happens in our social areas. Like in our family, as a smallest unit of the society, the school, the institutions, and kahit sa mga political systems, agricultural areas, and land areas, and other social areas, roles are very important. Now, let us proceed to George Herbert Mead. According to him, he says that roles is a coping strategies that individuals evolve as they interact with each other. Role-taking as a requisite for effective social interaction. Now, according to Mead, one aspect of role theory studies how roles are learned during the process of social interaction. That is, when we interact with others, we see ourselves and others as occupants of particular statuses, and we learn guides for action. In other words, there are certain social expectations. So yun nga, expectations associated with certain roles. May mga expectations like behavior, thoughts, attitudes, personality tayo na based sa ating role. Okay? So that is important, the role taking according to Mead. So the role theory is a concept in sociology by Ralph Linton and social psychology by George Herbert Mead that considers most of everyday activity to be the acting out of socially defined categories. Each role is a set of rights, duties, expectations, norms, and behaviors that a person has to face and fulfill. Now let's go on to the social role, gender role, and the role conflict. The theory's propositions about social role are the following. First, the division of labor in society takes the form of the interaction among specialized positions that we call roles. Nagkakaroon ng division of labor sa society natin because of roles. And there is what we call appropriate and permitted forms of behavior guided by social norms. That is number 2. And then number 3, legitimate and constructive when approved. Those who violate the role norms, there is cause to punish. Now let us go on what is norms or social norms. Norms are shared social belief about behavior, while social norms are shared standards of acceptable behavior by groups. So, there is a standard of acceptable behavior according sa social norms. And these norms can be both informal understandings that governs the behavior of members of the society. So, naka-codify dito yung mga rules natin, mga laws, and then mga policies sa society. But these social norms are also powerful drivers of human behavioral changes and well-organized human behavior. I would agree that social norms are powerful drivers of human behavior kasi mag-change naman talaga yung behavior natin dahil sa norms. But I wouldn't agree na ito yung mag-dictate or mag-control ng buhay natin. So, hindi ako mag-a-agree that it would control our life. Kasi, di ba, ang social norms, ito yung standard ng society. So, whatever you do, may sasabihin talaga sila. So, you will going to change your behavior na ano kayang sasabihin nila sa akin, ano kaya yung okay ba to sa kanila, approve ba to sa kanila. So, may mga ganun tayong mindset. What effects does the norm have on person's action? Role theory posits or hypothesizes that norms are organized in roles that individuals take over. Let's try this example. The role of father consists of a set of normative expectations about what a person with this role has to do and not to do. So, approve kapag ginawa ito ng father, and may punishment or may cost kapag hindi niya ito ginawa. But there is an alternative according to wrong. The alternative to this over-socialized conceptions of human is that to assume that in situations in which norms hold, there is still a choice. We have to realize that individuals have at least two options, to follow or not to follow. Let's go on to gender role. So, although there are different types of role, meron tayong cultural roles. So, example of this is a priest, pastor. Sa other culture naman, may royal king sila, knights, servants, and then others. And then number 2, social differentiation. Like a teacher. So, ang teacher, wife pa siya, and then tutor pa siya. Also, supervisor, husband siya, and also a father. And then number 3, situation-specific roles. So, may role siya based on that specific situation. Like eye contact or eyewitness, agent, sa ganon. And then number 4, biosociological roles. Human tayo, we are human in a natural system. Meron din namang mga immortal or mortal. And then number 5, the gender roles or what we call the sex role. Like man, woman, mother, and father. There is an expectation of being a woman, which is the gender role. So, ang expectation is that women are often emotional and caring, while men, on the other hand, is known as firm and steady. Women are concentrated in caretaking roles, while men in breadwinner roles. Yun yung sa gender roles. Negativity occurs when a group stereotype does not align with the characteristics required by the role. Example, may mga stereotype na kasi nga caring ang women, so they think, society think or other groups think that women are weak, women are kind. And men are leaders, so men are aggressive, so walang puso ang mga men. So may mga ganon. So that is a negative stereotypes about gender role. Sa role theory, there is what we call role conflict. Role conflict occurs when a person is expected to simultaneously act out multiple roles that carry contradictory expectations. People experience role conflict when they find themselves pulled in various directions as they try to respond to the many statuses they hold. Like, for example, you are a supervisor and at the same time a father. So, may mga conflict. So, ano yung ire-respond mo? Which to respond? Doon sa pagiging father na kailangan ka ng child, or doon sa work mo as a supervisor that your work also needs you. In role conflict, we have intra-role and inter-role conflict. Intra-role conflict occurs when the demands are within a single domain of life, such as on the job. An example would be when two superiors asked an employee to do a task and both cannot be accomplished at the same time. Kasi nga maraming job, so isa lang siya. So may dalawa siyang superior, so that is intra-role. Inter-role naman, conflict occurs across domains of life. An example of inter-role conflict would be a husband and father who is also a chief of police. If a tornado strikes the small town he is living in, the man has to decide if he should go home and be with his family and fulfill the role of being a good husband and father, or remain and fulfill the duties of a good chief officer because the whole town needs his expertise. Nagkakaroon nga ng conflict. Conflict among the roles begins because of the human desire to reach success and because of the pressure put on an individual by two imposing and incompatible demands competing against each others. So, that's it. So let's go on to the importance of role theory. Role theory is important because it establishes the behaviors and attitudes associated with various roles in society. A person can hold multiple roles which vary between settings and interactions with others. So the implications of role theory in the classroom. Role theory has provided an important framework for understanding perceived and actual group differences. When someone occupies a certain role, he or she is socialized to perform certain behaviors. More experience in role-related tasks fosters comfort and expertise and begins to feel greater self-efficacy or usefulness. That is what I've shared kanina, na makaka-feel tayo ng fulfillment and self-efficacy when we perform a role. The same thing with our students inside the classroom. Bigyan natin sila ng role nila, leader, kahit sa mga simple task lang like cleaners, magkakaroon sila ng self-efficacy or usefulness. Meron silang silbi. So, I would like to end up with this poem according kay William Shakespeare, The Seven Ages of Men. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Meron tayong parts, meron tayong role dito sa. That would be all, and thank you so much for listening. Here are my references. Thank you so much, and God bless.